Hello, Xbox Nation. Welcome to the new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Boomstick XL. And as you can hear, the excitement in my voice cannot be contained to just my voice. It is literally popping out of every part of my body simply because this is the lead off to what we're expecting next week to be one of the biggest Xbox events in the history of the company. And just saying that has given me goosebumps from the tip of my head all the way to the bottom of my feet, simply because I'm a diehard Xbox fan, just like everybody on this panel and the outstanding amount of people already in the live chat getting ready to rock it out with us. We have breaking news, not one, but two big bombs dropped by Microsoft today, one by Phil Spencer and the other confirmed by several people in the Xbox community. And we're going to get into that in a second, but let's get into the introductions now. Zemi Games, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Obviously, you are one of the main cogs that keep this show running. And have you been cooking anything? And more importantly, are you still going to be down with playing Resident Evil 8 if it has multiplayer?
Who are you guys and where am I at? Right? No, I'm super excited for the show. I've only had 3 hours of sleep, was up very, very late last night, binging a TV show. And to answer your two questions, no, there's no chance I'm ever going to play Resident Evil 8 unless it's co-op. If it is, then I will play it. And no, I have not been cooking anything. I have not. I feel like I've been letting everyone down. I've been letting my stomach down. I've been letting Twitter down. I feel really bad about it. But I'm very excited to be on the show today. I am planning on buying a wok though. I'm wanting to get.
You must own a wok. It is the best way to cook.
I need to. I've always wanted one, and I've just never. Anyway, super excited about today's show. Man, the news that just broke has me really, really excited. I can't wait to talk about it. So, Boom, thank you so much, man.
Well, thank you for being here. Next up, we have our resident teacher, someone that literally nearly missed the show simply because him and Joe were playing a new game that has them addicted. And from what I'm hearing, he had to carry Joe once again. What is up with this, Luke?
Whoa, Boom, why would you betray me like this?
I just heard it was fake news. That's all I'm saying.
What's up, Boom? Good to see everybody. Yes, so we he cut me off.
He cut him off. That's not all right.
What happened? What happened?
Luke, are you there, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, please continue.
Oh, I thought he cut me off, dude. Okay, so I had a weird audio hic. So I got to tell you about Rocket Arena real quick. I am easily the best player on this panel by far, and got honestly bad bit. Really, somebody needs to figure out. Like, I think maybe his controls were inverted when he thought they weren't. I don't know, dude. We really were almost late because we just one more. Oh, it was good. Thanks for having me, man. It's good to see you.
Well, listen, it's great to have you a part of the show. Obviously, having you and Mr. Badbit as new additions for the last couple of months, to be honest with you, has spoiled both Zemi and myself, simply because this at one point was a three-man show with the Welsh gamer who needed to take some time off for personal reasons. And again, like I've said before, he will be making his triumphant return when he feels the time is right. And of course, his chair is always going to be available for him to sit in. But to have you guys in Archimedes be a part of this show, I'm going to be honest with you, when you guys do step away, it is going to be a void that I don't necessarily know if it could be filled, simply because you, Archimedes, and of course, Joe, Mr. Badbit himself, really do not only power this show with greatness, but it is your infectious excitement for just gaming as a whole that really makes me as a host very happy to have you a part of the show. So thank you for being here. And of course, Mr. Badbit, talking about you like you weren't in the room. Listen, dude, what you've done in this community in such a short amount of time has been nothing short of triumphant, in my opinion. I think that what you bring to the table for both the Xbox and, more importantly, the PlayStation community is something that needs to be cheered about. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Man, let me tell you something. I'm just full of energy. past few days have been incredible. I want to first thank everybody giving me shout outs, well wishes, all that on Twitter. That's been overwhelming. That's really has been. Luke, why are you laughing?
Well, you know what? He's laughing simply because of your recent. Someone's following you from PlayStation. Actually, two people.
Yeah.
Maybe by the name of Goldfarb, and potentially, I don't know, someone was with a YO with Yosh something.
Yeah. I mean, well, Shuhei Yoshida and I are on talking
go.
terms. Yeah, we've talked in the beginning when Destiny launched. I go, who is your character? What do you rock? What class? He's a warlock because he knows that's the best class in Destiny. It's just that's fact, that's math,
Facts.
And it's science. And we're on, again, thank you everybody for the well wishes. When I see y'all on YouTube and dropping me, kind messages saying, hey, we're here from Boom's channel. It's awesome. It's awesome. And again, seeing the love there is fantastic, but I'm even more excited, not just by this Xbox news. We are on the eve of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes, that is correct. Absolutely. Mine is already shipped on its way. I'm hoping to get it early, but I doubt it.
I am looking at a Funko Pop and I'm like, I don't need another one. And I'm looking at Jin.
I think you have to buy. Just pull the trigger. Just do it.
You know what? Thank you.
Just do it before it's sold out, because then you're gonna hate yourself in the morning.
That's true.
It happens to me all the time. Listen, real quick, what I want to do before we get into the massive breaking news topics, I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, Chaos Might is here. First, thank you so much for hanging out. But more importantly, thank you for your outstanding $10 super chat. He says xCloud included in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate at no additional cost in September. Yes, we're going to be breaking that down. That is massive. We have a new channel member, which is freaking awesome. He is channel member number 41. I can't believe that many folks in this community has supported Double Barrel Gaming. The Fabs becomes a channel member. Thank you for that. And also, more importantly, thank you for supporting the channel and being here on the live show. We definitely appreciate it. And our very good friend, but he's also a very generous friend of the channel, Sin Vendetta, drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, man, going from listening to the trophy room to listening to the Xbox Factor podcast, it almost seems like Mr. Badbit went from one live show straight to the next. Good times, LOL. Well, there you go, Mr. Badbit. See,
Thank you.
You are really loved in this community, and you know what? We love to have you a part of the show. So let's get into, as we close in on almost 200 people, folks, we're only 8 minutes into the show, and we're already at over almost 200 people. That is a big deal. And let's break some other massive records today. And let's start with this. To start off today's incredible Xbox Factor podcast, we have not one, but two breaking news stories that will open up the show and set it apart from anyone that you're going to listen to for the remainder of the week, unless, of course, you're tuning in tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom, which we have some massive, incredible topics to talk about there, and in what seems like a new way of thinking and has enveloped all of the staffers at Redmond that make up the Xbox division. The new and important information about Next Generation continues to flow like an open fire hydrant in the hot summer days of New York City. And I remember that because, yes, back in the days, those fire hydrants used to be open and we used to play in them, and it was awesome, especially when you get those hot 90-degree days here in NYC. But the first news bomb comes the way of Phil Dominus Maximus, soon to be Aurelius Spencer, who posted an article on Xbox Wire that put the entire industry on notice. Now, the article is so professionally written, it appears that Phil Spencer is talking to me directly, and it's what he had to say about how Microsoft will put its players at the forefront of the platform. It is why it really stuck with me. Now, he goes on to tout how your investment in the Xbox platform is something that he does not take lightly, and that the core value will be paid in full when you buy an Xbox console or potentially sign up for the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And here is what the tweet from Xbox Wire had to say, and then we're going to break down what Phil had to say. They said this: We are committed to putting players first. As part of that commitment, we are happy to announce that Xbox Game Pass and Project xCloud are coming together at no additional cost starting this September. Now, here are some of the quotes from the very lengthy article, which I have in the show notes, that if you wanted to read yourself, it's a fantastic read. I highly, highly recommend you give it a read. But this is coming directly from Phil Spencer, and he says this: "You are the future of gaming. Games are a source of joy, inspiration, and social connection. They have the power to bring us together, create empathy, and strengthen our social fabric. As we prepare for the next generation, our efforts to make gaming more inclusive, more immersive, more connected, and more social are as relevant and important as ever." He continues with this: "At Xbox, we listen to what you, the players, game developers, and content creators, tell us you want for the future of gaming. Based on your feedback, we're building a future where you and your friends can play the deepest, most immersive and interactive games ever created across your Xbox console, PC, and mobile devices. At the dawn of the next generation, it's important to be clear about what you can expect from the future of Xbox. Our vision has one hero at the heart of it, and it's you. And today, I want to share some commitments with you." Now, again, folks, this is a very lengthy article. So what I decided to do for time purposes, so we can get in some of the other topics that I spent 6 hours writing over the weekend, I just broke down the bullet points. Again, folks, I want to say that I highly encourage you read this article. I mean, again, if you're like me and you appreciate Phil for who he is, when you read the article, you will feel as if he is speaking to you directly. I really do mean that. I'm not just being facetious when I say that. So here are the bullet points. It starts off with this: "You will always be welcome. Your games will look and play best on the Xbox Series X. You play new games day one with Xbox Game Pass. You won't be forced into the next generation, a real shot at Sony. Your games will not be left behind thanks to backwards compatibility. Your Xbox One gaming accessories come into the future with you as well. You can buy games once at no additional cost to play them with better graphics. You choose how to jump into the next generation of gaming. You are in control of a healthy and balanced gaming lifestyle. And lastly, you'll get more from your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate membership." Okay. Now these, look, I'll say this, and I'm gonna go to Zemi. Zemi, look, when you saying this out loud and reading it, two different things. When I read it, I felt like I was watching a bit of a prize fight, simply because there were some jabs thrown at Sony, completely, blatantly, but politically correctly, if you will. When you hear that they're merging Xbox Game Pass Ultimate along with Project xCloud at no additional cost to you or anyone that supports this platform, it is a line drawn in the sand. I said that on Twitter, and I honestly mean that. I think that this really does put the rest of the industry on notice. What are your thoughts on this groundbreaking news?
Well, I mean, I've said this before, and I will probably say it again. This entire article reads like a battle speech. I mean, and I really, really do believe that, because, I mean, it just does. It's so hype inducing, and it's amazing. And as for the news of xCloud coming to Game Pass Ultimate, I think it just makes sense, right? It makes sense, and it makes sense, on multiple levels, but I think more to do with just how Xbox has transitioned from a company since 2013 until now. It just makes sense because it's the consumer-friendly thing to do, and it's just the right thing to do, right? But overall, I really, really enjoyed reading this article. And I think that if nothing else, this article really pinpoints and shows how critical Phil is to the Xbox brand. Because after all, you know, looking at, gaming, like the gaming media, you don't really see the head of Stadia, the head of PlayStation, or the head of Nintendo doing something like this.
Exactly.
And more importantly, Phil is constantly out there giving interviews, providing transparency, and showing that he cares and that he is a gamer. And I think that is, just another thing to think about whenever reading this. And I think that this article really serves the purpose of maybe not necessarily giving us any new news information. I mean, it definitely confirms that xCloud is going to be in Game Pass Ultimate, but a lot of the other pieces of information we've kind of already known about. And this isn't necessarily to drop any major news bombs or anything like that. I think the main purpose of this article is to keep the hype going. Remind people that may have forgotten that July 23rd is definitely going to be Xbox's showcase. And I think that this is going to just repeat in, the upcoming week. I think we're going to see a lot more articles. I think we're going to see a lot more interviews, a lot more talking, points being thrown out there because, literally a week from now, we're all going to be sitting in front of the screens looking at the July showcase, seeing everything that they have to show us. And so they're just going to continue doing this round of press and advertisements just to get everyone excited and have as many people, put their eyes on this Xbox showcase as possible, because we all have this expectation that it's going to be a big show. Xbox has kind of confirmed that, mic drop moments and all. So it's just really important to get as many eyes on it as possible. And how you do that is just continually talking about it, releasing press, and building up people's hype.
Well, I mean, look, if you, in a subtle way, if you look at what they've done this particular week, right, leading up to the big event, which is officially 7 days away, Monday morning, they dropped the Velocity architecture article by Jason Ronald, which was magnificent, which we're going to talk about in today's show. As a matter of fact, I want to give a big shout out to my brother, D Batch. Obviously, who he is. He's the guy with the best dreads in the business, but he's also one of the more smarter tech guys. He's also a part of RDX, which is run by Dealer Gaming, and their panel is just phenomenal. It's packed with superstars. There's just no way around that. And he dropped a video, and I don't have it in the show notes. What I'm going to do, because I like pushing others, I'm going to add it after the show goes live, after the show uploads to YouTube, because I watched it twice. And listen, I'll be the first one to say I'm not a Neanderthal. I understand how things work, but I'm also not a tech. I'm not a tech head like a guy like Colt Eastwood or Dealer. Those guys really know their ways around PCs, but also on the ways around what's going into the Xbox. And the way that D-Batch broke down what the Velocity architecture is actually going to do, he basically confirmed. And folks, listen, if I get booed for this, I can only go with what I heard. He basically confirmed that the Xbox Series X SSD is going to run better and faster than Sony's PS5 based on the information that he provided. And that's really saying something. And that just goes to show you that this box that's coming out in the fall is going to be something special. And Microsoft, it looks like they did not leave anything on the table. But I want to go to Luke. But Luke, before we get to you, let me just catch up on some of the super chats as we close in on 300 people here. First of all, the Board Game Renegade was here super early, and he drops an amazing super sticker. Thank you for the $1 donation, my brother. It's greatly appreciated. And Face 23 BKNY will do. Thank you and welcome back. He drops a $5 super chat and says, is Xbox Live included with that Game Pass Ultimate deal with xCloud? The answer is yes, but we have some breaking news information, part 2, that confirms my theory that Xbox Live will be one of the mic drop moments not this Thursday, next Thursday, where I believe Phil Spencer is going to come out and say that Xbox Live is now officially free for everyone. Shane Tomlin is here. Thank you so much for not only hanging out, Shane, but he drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I think Zemi should play every horror game ever made for charity. Hit the like button, peeps. You know what? That'd be actually a good idea, but I don't know if he would survive the charity event, right there, Zemi. Sin Vendetta drops a very generous $2 super chat, says, oh my God, Zemi, 1 week, let's go. And listen, there's a lot to get excited about. But Luke, listen, again, this has been a big week for Xbox in a way that some people may consider subtle, right? There wasn't really a lot of fanfare except by the fans, us. We rah-rahed it. Again, Monday was the Jason Ronald article, and today you had the Phil Spencer article, and then followed right after that is the Aaron Greenberg talking about the 23rd, the July 23rd showcase. For you, getting back to this particular article, what does this tell you that the direction that Microsoft is looking to take with their fans leading the charge for next generation?
Well, I hear Miriam. It was interesting because we are rallying around this idea that it is for the fans, that it's super pro-consumer, and all of that is true, but it's not meant to be consumer friendly out of kindness. This is a business, and they're smart about doing it, and their pro-consumer friendly attitude is good for their business. Let's be very clear about what they're setting up. They're controlling their messaging with these timed information releases so that tech heads like Archimedes, like your friends on RDX, can all approach the information and get it out to laymen like myself in an understandable way. Smart. They're doing it ahead of their big release. Smart. But forget consumer friendly for a moment and look at it from just a business side. They are telling us that you can play Xbox games whenever, wherever, and however you like.
Right.
No Xbox required. This is future thinking to protect their business, and it's extremely consumer friendly, and it's smart. You're telling me that if I subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, I can play Xbox games, Halo Infinite, with my friends on my phone and not have to buy an Xbox One, not have to buy a Lockhart, not have to buy a Series X. I can just play on my phone if I have Game Pass Ultimate. Dope. Whenever, wherever, and however I like. That's consumer friendly, and it's business friendly. It looks good for everybody all around. It is future thinking, and it really allows us to begin having hindsight. We're too early for full hindsight, but it allows us to see the vision that somebody with well intentions might have had when they were trying to do all the digital stuff in 2013. It shows us in hindsight where they started to take the hardware division with the Xbox One S, which are what's the server racks are for the xCloud. And it shows that they're thinking about being pro-consumer and pro-business at the same time in a way that makes them money and gives us the best experience possible. I have friends who are saying, I don't know if I need an Xbox next year. And I'm like, yo, maybe you don't. You might not. And you know what? We're still going to play Halo Infinite together.
Yeah,
you're still going to be able to play Halo Hellblade 2. Like, that's awesome. That is the key to all of this. What are we so excited about in gaming? Crossplay, playing with our friends.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what your plastic box is. And Xbox has positioned themselves to make money and sustain their business so that fans that bleed green, like myself, can still have our games. We are essentially getting to have our cake and eat it too. And that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do like the way you just broke it down. Again, obviously, from a fandom point of view, which is the way that everyone, the over 300 people here, are, and everyone on this panel are, equating this to, is that it looks like Microsoft is looking out for you as an individual. I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds nerdy, maybe even sounds a little insane to some people, and I hear you. But when, like I said, if you read the article, which I've read it twice, I wrote about it, so it's technically I almost read it 3 times based on adding the show notes to the already stacked show, that I felt like Phil was talking to me simply because I'm invested in the brand and knowing clearly understanding the direction that they're taking as a corporation and taking the Xbox platform. What I have to applaud, and I think everybody will agree, is that Phil Spencer is basically laying on the line everything they're going to do. The transparency here has to be spoken about. Because look, I'm not taking a shot at Sony. The PlayStation 5, I'm buying every accessory, including a PlayStation 5 day one, no questions asked, and probably every launch title that's an exclusive, because I'm a gamer. So I want everything. But with that said, Sony has been, I mean, you want to call a spade, folks. Either you can call it secretive, you can call it sneaky, you can call whatever fits the narrative you're trying to build, but they have not been as forthcoming going into this generation as Microsoft has been. I think that's been the one Achilles heel that outside of the power of the console. There's a lot that we still don't know about the PlayStation 5. There are a lot we don't know about backwards compatibility. There are a lot about game, about the way they're going to, position the business moving forward. Whereas you've seen Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, and everyone talk about the Xbox because they want everyone to know what they are doing. And I have to applaud that. And this is another example of Phil Spencer telling potential new customers, because again, I think it's, I'm not sure who says it on a regular basis. I actually think it's Gaming Forte, but he honestly believes that anywhere between, I don't know, I think it's usually 8 and 10 million people left the Xbox brand because of price and power during the 2013, curb stomp that Sony gave Microsoft. And those potential customers may want to come back to Xbox because there is a deal for them. And maybe they don't have to spend $400 or $500. Maybe they can play another way. And having all of these, these different things available for them will potentially get them to play Xbox again. And that's what Phil Spencer and Microsoft wants to do. But I want to bring Joe into the conversation. Joe, obviously, you are personally on loan from the PlayStation Nation to hang out with us. And we definitely appreciate them, lending you out. And I kind of think it's whoring, if you want my honest opinion. And I would definitely get some more zeros added to your contract if I were you.
Yeah.
But with that said, when you read this article, when you read the show notes and you see what Phil Spencer is saying, he's painting a picture that is very easy to understand and very consumer friendly and forthcoming. What are your thoughts on the information that he provided that xCloud, which is going to be the next big thing, is getting added for the absolute biggest price of free?
Poor Stadia. That's who I feel the worst for. Man, Stadia. Remember they had a Connect yesterday.
They had something yesterday. No one talked about it.
2 days ago. I have no idea. Yeah, man. So this speaks to it's the drum I've been banging for a while, and when I say it, it is the unpopular thing of they're not here to sell you the box. Like, honest to goodness, this is the future of Xbox. It is Game Pass. It is xCloud. Like, the box is here, and they say, like, it's here if you want the most premium console experience. xCloud and Game Pass is here if you want just the cheapest entry, which is, you guys have phones, and that's what Microsoft's here to bring you. That's why I try really hard to move away from the narrative of winning and losing generations, of who sells the most boxes, because it really doesn't matter. It's about who we're bringing into the ecosystem.
Yes, I agree.
So when I see this move, and when they say we're not locking you into the generation, that's not. You could call it a jab if you want at Sony, but it's them putting their stake in the ground, going, this is what's important to us. Yes, Series X is great, but the ability to play the way you want is more important to us. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming weeks we're also going to see them drop Xbox Live and it's just literally Game Pass and it's $15 a month type of deal. That would be fantastic. At the same exact time, when I'm thinking of what this article serves, this is kind of their, you know, this is outlining where Microsoft is going into the future, where they stand for right now.
Yeah.
And when they say it again, like I need to push this narrative more. They're just like, hey, listen, you don't need an Xbox Series X right now. You know, what we want you to be is in this ecosystem with us, enjoying the games. Whether you're playing Halo Infinite on your phone, on your Xbox One S or your Series X, it really doesn't matter to us as long as you're in this ecosystem.
Yep.
They're trying desperately to be the Netflix of games, and it's absolutely working. And when I say I feel the worst for Stadia, because let's be honest, when both these consoles come out, as long as they're priced relatively fine, they're both going to do great. That's just the reality.
No doubt about it. Yeah, they're both going to sell like hotcakes.
I feel the worst for Stadia because they have nothing.
They have literally nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So when I take a look at what Microsoft has done right, it really does show, if we are going to use that thing of winning and losing, why losing a generation is so important.
I agree.
Because it gets you humble and you get to see what people actually give a shit about. 7 years ago, Xbox was talking about TVs and DRM and nobody wanted that, right? Now they're talking about something that I think people are going to want and going to, when we're all playing it at the end of the day, like when it first launches, look, it's going to be a slow rollout. Yeah, it's not going to be the best because we're still using, old phones, LTE, no 5G. That's going to give us the Rona. But like, we're still going to have that experience. It's going to get better over time. And Xbox has done a great job at that messaging that Sony hasn't done a good job on, right? Like the optimize for X, or, whether you love or hate that sticker, I hate it, but whatever. Like whether you love or hate it, that's a good sign of messaging from Xbox, whether it's smart delivery, whether it's crossplay. They're doing a great job of lining up their services right now so that going into it what this Xbox is about. And then hopefully on the 23rd, we're going to see games take advantage of that. And now we're going to see what Microsoft has been saying for the last 5 years, what their future is. I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater yet when it comes to PlayStation and their lack of addressing,
they're going to have to respond at some point or another. Yeah. They do have an August show coming up for sure.
And that's why I'm like, I'm going to I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt until like once we get to September, and then I'll be like, all right, guys, Jesus. But like they have and the thing that really does confuse me is they have a whole lot of similar things to smart delivery, and they talk about it, but they're not braggadocious like Xbox is. I would love to see them do that. I think when it comes to marketing their games, they've done a great job. But when it comes to their services, it's just, I'm going to say abysmal, or not even, just non-existent. I like what Phil Spencer said here today, and it as a primarily PlayStation gamer, I am optimistic more than ever for the future of Xbox. Even if the games next week do not wow me or do not speak to me, just knowing where they are in terms of their services and ecosystem gets me pumped. And that's been my rant.
Well, I wanted to comment, and I'm sorry.
Please, by all means, go ahead, jump in, Luke.
The Sony is under far less pressure to nail their messaging, and that's the power of a stable catalog of high profile IP and of being the market leader. And that I understand the caution. I also you have to applaud Xbox's braggadocious nature, as Joe said, because it's been changed. The ideology has clearly been changed at Redmond. There's just no doubt about it. And what better indicator that they're not backing down in a time where we've seen Google step away from Stadia, where Mixer has faltered, where we've seen other technologies. I mean, Amazon has largely fallen apart in its gaming division. Mm-hmm. What a time to see the confidence, and they're like, no, starting with the Game Awards, we're on it, and we're going to be hitting you with information, with high profile games. And when they've stumbled, as they have a bit, I mean, they're stumbling with the May, I think it was the May inside
May
Xbox.
12th, yeah. May 12th event. Yeah.
If that was their face plant, they're doing pretty good, because they still showed some good games and some good stuff there. It was just the gameplay rhetoric that threw it off. So I like that. Go ahead, Joe.
And the thing that I want to stress for people in the chat as well is like, yeah, like Sony, like they're both in great places right now. Sony is in good shape in terms of like, you know, they haven't for the majority of it disappointed their fan base. So like they do get away with a lot of things or not speaking. And at the same exact time, like a lot of people are like, the new narrative from the PlayStation fanboys is the social media account. Yes. I'm a PR guy. That is our narrative. We justify our existence on numbers. And I have to applaud Microsoft for not playing it safe like Sony has. Listen, yes, when Sony tweets or puts out an Insta of a PS5 logo, people freak out for no reason. I don't even know why that was so like, but it goes to show that their presence is still strong.
It is, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I give a huge amount of props to the Xbox social team as a social media guy, as a PR dude, seeing them understand, oh yeah, we do have a smaller following. We don't get the view counts that the PlayStation gang does. We have to work even harder. And so when I see like the brilliant marketing, whether it's the fridge, Xbox GIF, or whether it's anything that Game Pass puts out on Twitter is just fire. They have so much right now personality behind the brand and their social media that's riling up the hardcore, the people that are watching us right now, us talking. That's gonna pay dividends when xCloud launches in September, when Series X launches in we're assuming October, November, and that's gonna get Xbox back on that hype train. I'm on it. I want it to succeed. I'm seeing it, and for the large part, doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of excitement in the Xbox camp, and as we get closer to what seems like December 21st next week, 25th next week, which is Christmas, obviously in this country. Next week is basically Christmas for all the Xbox community, and something that we've been waiting for. You know, real quick, let me catch up on some of these super chats, and I just want to read the closing statements from Phil, just to kind of put an exclamation point on this particular topic, and then we're going to move on to the smaller of the breaking news. First of all, Kay Asante is here. Dude, thank you so much for always supporting Double Barrel Gaming. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat. My goodness, it's going so fast. Let me just try and get back to it. Hold on just a second, Kay Asante. He says, hello, gentlemen. Speak on the potential. We've been talking about this for months. You know they're going to have an xCloud app for PC too soon, right? Absolutely. There's no listen. I got a real big suspicion, and again, I'm not a prophet in any way, that xCloud app is going to come standard in every Samsung TV this year moving forward, and that means that all you will need is your Xbox Live account, a wireless controller, and you will be playing games off of the cloud, off of xCloud, for the price of, your $15 a month that you spend, and you will not even need a console, which is what I think. I'm not sure if it was Luke or Joe was saying that's ultimately what they're going to be pushing. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to see that or hear that. That is the future. Philly Eagle once again drops $5 super chat in Philly. Thank you so much for hanging out, dude. Super appreciate you always listening to the show, and of course commenting on the video. That definitely appreciate going back and forth with you. He says this: the Donnie D and Meyerson era is over. RIA, rest in agony, and may never see the light of day again. From your mouth to the gaming god's ears, my friend. He says this is Phil's Xbox era. May it thrive forever. Great statement. And we have
4,000 years.
We have here Splatman. First of all, Splatman, thank you so much for being here regularly. Definitely appreciate you listening to the show, but also your $5 donation to Double Barrel Gaming. Thanks for the super chat. He says, I think what Xbox are doing under Phil's guidance is amazing. They are thinking forward with new ideas. Sony's tactics are old and not what's needed. And I agree.
I agree to a large part of that.
Well, there you go. And this is coming from a PlayStation representative. So that's a big statement.
It's just boring. Just get me more excited. Yeah.
And Splatman, great name. I just want to throw that out.
Flatman is great. Obviously, I think Mega Man right away that could potentially be a character. Pixel Bit G drops a very generous $5 super chat. Thank you for being here, Pixel Bit. Definitely love that you're in the chat. He says, "Let's stop saying they don't care about the box. They went ahead and made it curb stomp the PS5. They don't care. It forces you to play on it." I mean, listen. I don't think anyone here would even suggest that Microsoft doesn't care about the box. And the reason why I say
tag me in after you. Tag me in after you.
Oh, I will tag you. I will certainly tag you. The reason why I believe that they ultimately care about the box is because of what they've put into it. The thought-provoking and forward-thinking design of this new Xbox is the reason what they're going to be offering us as an entry price is something that you can't do on PCs right now. Just understand that. Let that soak in, folks. When you bring home your Xbox Series X, you're going to understand that the PC master race is going to be looking at you with beaded eyes because your home console is going to be better than 85% of the PC Master Race boxes out there. And I'm not saying the $8,000 rigs. I'm saying that we understand that the PC community, a good portion, does not even play in 4K Ultra. So just imagine that for whatever it is that we play. Well, I mean, listen, whatever we pay for this box, it is going to be better than most of the PC Master Race equipment, and that's a big deal. Crazy Horse drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says live stream today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Yes, that's right. The Gears developer will be covering both Gears Tactics on PC and Gears 5 on the Microsoft upcoming next-gen console. That's right. You're probably going to see Gears 5 running at 120 frames per second. That's going to be on Twitch. I'm going to be watching that right after the show. Sin Vendetta once again drops another $5 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. He says Xbox didn't face plant in May. They scraped their knee, got back up, and kept running. You know, I kind of like that because I don't really think it was that bad of a show, but that's just me. Eagles fan 76 drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says these marketing catchphrases for Xbox don't be surprised when you see TV manufacturers have a labeling for TVs saying optimized TVs for Xbox Series. Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's big. Oh, a very good friend of the show, who is I think he's been married now, I think 2 or 3 months. A good friend of the show, Scrub Nurse, drops a very generous $10 super chat. Says shout out to everyone. Something to look at. Microsoft has its earnings call on July 22nd. Wow, July 22nd. I didn't know that. Right before the big show. If stocks start to raise before, that may be a hint of how big they are going. Listen, I know that we're getting some announcements of games, but I still think that we're going to get some studio announcements in there as well. I'm just saying that's my take on it. Chaos Theory, first of all, thanks so much for being here, dude. And also, thank you for your $2 super chat. He says, what's up, Boomin' Panel? Hope everyone is healthy. Yes, and you as well, my friend. James7176 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, just thought of something. Is it possible to screen mirror your Game Pass Ultimate games from your phone to your TV? Well, that's interesting. I don't actually know that. And the board game Renegade drops another $2 super chat and says Jason Ronald needs to drink Red Bull before he interviews. Yeah, you know what it is. He's your typical tech guy. He's soft spoken. He's very intuitive with his speaking. He's very to the point. But there isn't like he's not a rah guy, but he's a genius. So Luke, before you forget your what do you want to jump in and I'm tagging you in. What do you want to say about the boxless Xbox potential?
Yeah, I'll see the comment mini super chats back, which by the way, thank you guys for supporting the show. You're awesome. The idea that when I said that they don't care about the box, they care about the box, but they don't care if you have the box and play their games. They want you in their ecosystem. Right. And the building of a box to step all over Sony, I want to be careful with that narrative, because we don't know what the PlayStation 5 is truly capable of, nor do we understand the Series X. Truly, we will not understand these boxes until 2 years from now.
Yeah.
It'll take time. Similarly, you can have the most powerful box in the world, and if you don't have content that people want to play, that will change the narrative as well. And so
if I could just tap in on that as well.
No, it's cool. You tag into the part that I was
thanks.
tagging into. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a tag. It's also like when I say they don't really care about the box. If they really cared about selling this box, they would tie you into a generation. They really just want you to play their games where you want to, and not just time you out at the beginning or at the end of this year, right? When they say, hey, listen, you know, our exclusives will be on the one as well as the series for a year or two, that they want you to be comfortable, because they don't want to gate, you know, content between Game Pass. So their main focus is Game Pass, and they're not fixated on the number of units sold, which is awesome, because that is a change that we've never seen before, and we're seeing it right now build hype for us. This is why we're all excited, right? We're excited that we're able to play Halo on our phone. That's nuts.
It's really, I mean, if you would have said this to us 10 years ago, we would call you you're a lunatic.
I put out a tweet as well where I'm like, I'll be able to play Halo Infinite on my iPhone, an Apple product, and I'll be controlling it on my DualShock 4. That's like a sign of the beast a year ago. But now it's like that shows you how much Microsoft just cares about you playing Game Pass.
And that's the thing. On November 7th, which is when you'll all be able to buy your Xbox Series X's, it's going to be 11/7/117. You know what I'm saying? Ooh.
Whoa, that would be dope.
It would be dope. On November 7th, when you got, if I have my Series X and Booms is delayed in shipping, and Joe says, nope, not doing it, I'm absolutely playing on xCloud, and then my buddy, he wants to play on his Xbox One, we can all still play.
Yes.
We can all still play. And what are we going to be tweeting about? Halo Infinite. What are we talking about? Xbox. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. That's
the 7th is a Saturday, Luke.
Yes, it's a Saturday. That's right. And we've seen stranger things happen. If Nintendo can release their little DS Bakugan Super
Sunday
game on Sundays, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You know what?
I want it. It's festive.
It is festive, but what I want to do is this. I just want to read the closing comments from Phil Spencer on this particular article, and then we're going to move on to the second piece of breaking news. Then we're going to attempt to get to the remainder of of course, the show that I wrote. But you know, you can't deny that this is interesting talk, and hopefully, everyone, the 435 people we have in the chat already in the live chat are enjoying themselves. This is what Phil Spencer closes out this article with, and this is why I am very happy to say he is the right man to lead Xbox, and hopefully that just never ends. He says this: the future of gaming has never been more exciting and limitless. It is a future you'll explore on your terms, not constrained by restrictive policies. Another jab at Sony. Where your gaming legacy will not be left behind, and where you will not be locked out of new exclusive Xbox Studios games, even if you choose to stay with your current console for a while. I like how you threw a while in there. It's a future where you and your friends play the most immersive, responsive, and vivid games together on every screen in your life, and where games reach across the world and bring you stories you've never experienced before. It's a future in which you get more value from your games, and where everyone is welcome. We hope you'll join us next Thursday, July 23rd, for the Xbox Games Showcase for the first look at Halo Infinite campaign and more. Thanks so much for shaping the future. Wow. Goosebumps inducing. But you know what? Listen, we've already beat this particular topic over the head, and it's currently unconscious. So I want to move on to the second breaking news. And again, this is a little bit of a smaller one, but one that has tremendous relevance, and something that as a podcaster / content creator, I've been talking about for quite some time. And in what I am personally calling the I told you so moment, cheap ass gamer of Twitter dropped a tweet that wasn't long. It wasn't daunting to read, though its weight on what was said is sending shockwaves throughout the gaming industry and is wrapped in speculation and potential game-changing implications unseen in the modern console era. And here is the hot off the presses news bomb from the official Twitter account of Cheap Ass Gamer. And it simply says this: news. Xbox gets rid of the option to get a yearly Xbox Gold membership via their website. And I'll say, listen, I understand it's simple, but what I've been saying for the last few weeks is that Xbox Live is going to become free to all, and it is one of those mic drop moments I honestly believe are coming on the 23rd. I don't know if it's going to be at the front end, the back end, or somewhere in the middle, but if they remove this paywall, if they tell the world that Xbox Live is free, even though Luke has made good points in the past to prove that what I'm saying is complete lunacy because of how many people actually pay for it. Because xCloud is now incorporated into Xbox Game Pass, and because Xbox Game Pass is the best value in the history of gaming, Microsoft can figure out a way to recoup that $60 a year loss by getting more people into Xbox Game Pass, by getting more people onto the service, because it's that good of a deal. And I think they can do that simply because you won't need places like Korea, places like Japan, who no longer buy consoles like they did back in the 90s, are playing on mobile. Those territories are uncharted waters for Microsoft, but yet they're doing very well there now. When xCloud officially launches, people are from that region, gamers from that region are going to want to play because they don't have to buy the console, because Microsoft is giving them a way to play in a way that they've been playing for years, and that's on mobile, on tablets, in cafes, on their phones, on the trains, and they will be able to not only play Halo, not only play Gears of War, not only play Forza, but they're going to be able to play the games that region is normally used to playing. But Microsoft is going to cater to that audience. So Xbox Game Pass for Japan and Xbox Game Pass for Korea are going to have different games that maybe we don't have, but caters to that community. And it's an ingenious business move, and it's one that's going to allow for Microsoft to basically drop the gauntlets on the industry. And who is going to really be in the crosshairs of this move? PlayStation, because right now they could not afford to do it. They would not make PSN free because they have a service like Game Pass, but not like Game Pass. I mean, PS Now is just not the same service. Is it a good service? Sure, it's a good service, but it's not a great service. And the reason why it's not a great service is, one, their first-party games are not in their day and date, and their games have a 3-month expiration date. Get God of War in on July, it's out by October. That sucks. I think all of their first-party games should be in there. So Zemi Games, listen, I could be 100% wrong. And if I am, I'll be the first one to stand up on the podium and tell everyone that I was wrong as all hell. But what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, and you've been a part of these shows, Xbox Live is going to be free. Is this another instance that I could be right?
Yeah, I mean, this is more evidence pointing towards you being right than what we had before. Especially with it now being confirmed that xCloud is going to be in Game Pass. I mean, that definitely throws a little bit more maybe truth or I guess maybe understandability to your theory, let's say. And as I've said before, and we have talked about this on several shows before. And as I've said before, this makes a lot of sense for Xbox to do this, and it definitely follows their pattern of consumer-friendly actions, right? A lot of gamers have requested this, and in a lot of ways, it will help a lot of gamers who, either don't want to spend the money for gold or either can't spend the money for gold. And those gamers do exist, right? I mean, they definitely do. Right. I play with them. Well, I don't play with them, but I hear of them and I see them all the time on forums and social media and stuff. And one major advantage that this is going to do is if you make Xbox Live Gold free, that's going to allow a lot of gamers who previously don't have Xbox Live Gold, and they exist. If they didn't, Xbox would not be releasing, free weekends where you could play with gold, right? So they definitely exist. But that's going to allow more, gamers playing online, meeting up with friends, making those friends, and those friends are going to make game requests. They're going to say, hey, why don't you buy this game so we can play it together? And so they're going to make money off of this decision. Right. And then, as you said before, it will definitely also put a lot of pressure on PlayStation, on Sony, of whether or not they should keep it. Should they remove it? Are they going to decide to, maybe make PS Now better and put first party games in their day and date to try to help compete with Xbox the way that they're doing to them? Right. So it's definitely going to put a lot of pressure on Sony. The only thing that works against this is how much money are they potentially going to lose from getting rid of Xbox Live Gold? And that is a very, very important argument to make here. But with that being said, I don't think any of us have enough information at hand to even speculate on this. Xbox, they know how many subscribers to Xbox Live Gold they have versus how many subscribers to Ultimate and Game Pass they have. And they also understand and have the information, have the data on how many new subscribers to Xbox Live Ultimate and Xbox Game Pass that they have. And so they are the ones that can make this educated decision on whether or not this is a good move for them. But I think that is really the one argument, the one main factor that is going to potentially hold back this move. But ultimately, I think it makes a lot of sense for Microsoft, for Xbox to do this. I think it's going to make gaming more inclusive. It's the consumer-friendly action. Consumers have been asking for it for years now. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's just the money is, like with everything else, money rules the world. And this is the same instance with this. I just don't think that really any of us have enough information or data to go on. We don't have, a back screen look into the analytics and the adoption rate of, Xbox Live's services, right? And if we had that, then we can make a better educated guess, but we don't. But I think it's very, very likely that we could potentially see this happen.
Well, I mean, listen, there are a lot of reasons to believe it wouldn't happen, for sure. And Luke, I'm going to go to you next simply because you have not really gone against what I've said, but you have really presented strong, extremely strong arguments, credible arguments, I might add, to why this is an improbability. But with that said, more evidence with the removal of the ability to buy the year is saying something to me that is a little bit more I don't want to try and push it in my favor, but it seems like it's more likely this could happen. But before I get your point, let me just say a big shout out to our personal sheriff and prison guard to make sure that these chats remain proper and away and keeping the trolls away. Lethal Papa is in the building. Thank you, Lethal, for everything that you do. And of course, he says this: I think they will save this announcement for August, honestly. Hopefully it's just games. You know something? Because the August event is rumored, folks, to be the services and hardware where we could potentially get more information on xCloud and Xbox Live being free and what new games are going into Xbox Game Pass and the potential of seeing what the Series S looks like and getting a launch date and price makes a lot of sense. But Luke, I want to go to you next. Before I get to the super chats, I'll come back before I talk to Joe and just give these people, these fine, generous folks a shout out. You had some, again, compelling theories and counter arguments to Xbox Live going free. With this new information, have you moved a little bit towards the potential of it happening?
Well, yeah. I mean, on April 27th, I published an XEP that argued that Xbox games with gold must go.
And it was a great thing, dude. It was fantastic.
Thank you. I do think Xbox Live Gold needs to change tremendously, and I think it's being phased out, as is smart, because Xbox Live will now be, well, I think over time become a moniker, and Xbox will become a digital platform. And we're talking like 15 years from now. I'm not talking like tomorrow. And this is just one more step towards that future. And if you've got an online platform, you don't need to delineate each group into smaller subsets by saying, well, I have Xbox Live, but I don't have Xbox Game Pass, or I have this, but not that. I have this version of that version. I do think Xbox Live needs to go free in the, like right now, like there's an Xbox Silver, I believe.
Yes.
Just let Xbox Live be free. And if you want the perks of that Games with Gold or Xbox Live Gold offers, then you're a Game Pass subscriber. And there's not a huge difference per se in it, but allowing people online to connect with one another makes you money. Simply put, if people are playing games with their friends, they're more likely to spend in microtransactions. They're more likely to spend on DLC content. They're more likely to buy more games. That's a proven fact in Game Pass. Its very existence proves that point. And allowing more people into that ecosystem by way of a free gate into Xbox Live versus having to pay, I think is a long-term thing that does need to happen. I do not think it's happening tomorrow. I don't think it's happening 2 years from now, but they're going to begin phasing out Xbox Live Gold and phasing out some of the services that they have for that and moving a lot of those services into Game Pass Ultimate. I don't think it's an appropriate thought to say that it's going away. It's just evolving into something different. You're not losing anything. We always panic as consumers that something is taken away from us, even if it's not used. I mean, that's an interesting thing that well, don't take this away. And PR companies have had to learn how to adjust for their consumers to avoid that mindset, and adapting and changing the way Xbox Live is interpreted, what people understand it to do, and moving that into Xbox as a brand name is something that they're working on. That's why they've shifted so much else of their business. Xbox Game Studios, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. They're working on Xbox being in front of everything, and that being the reason. I will tease for just a moment that on next week's XEP, I have a guest on who offers a lot of insight into why Mixer went down despite it making money. And that blew my mind when I discussed this stuff. And so I was like, oh, that's odd. And it has to do with branding and changing the business model for consumers and gamers alike going forward. It's about sustainability long term. So that's why I think it needs to go. But not be taken away from us. It's just changing.
You know what? And change is good, especially when the consumer is going to be at the forefront of that change. And I think that, again, this is maybe I'm looking at this from a fan's perspective. I'm going to try and address this from a consumer's perspective more so than a fan. If you turn around and everyone knows what Xbox Live is. If you play games, whether that be mobile, whether that be Die Hard, you buy everything, or the casuals, you understand that to play online, we have been conditioned to know that you need Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. That is something that is just built into the knowledge as a gamer, whether you're a full-time gamer or the least part-time gamer, you know that you need these services to play with your friends if you play online. If you tell the gaming community, and obviously everyone, even the casuals, are going to know that this year, besides being the worst year in the history of humanity with everything that's gone on, the gaming aspect, people are going to know that two big consoles are coming out. They know that a PS5 is coming out. They know that an Xbox has a new console coming out. But if you can somehow get into the headspace of even the most least diehard gamer and say the word Xbox Live, or say the words, I should say, Xbox Live is now free, you're going to perk the ears of not just the diehards, not just the medium gamers, but everyone under the umbrella, because you said the word free. And when you
good point. Very good point.
And thank you. And when and obviously Xbox Game Pass, even I have friends that haven't gamed in 10 years, and I get it all the time. I've been hearing about this Xbox Game Pass. Is it worth it? When I break it down to them, I'm like, oh my god, it's like Netflix. This is amazing. What about, does Sony have this? No, they have something called PS Now, but it's not the same. You don't get as many games, whatever. And the people run to get Game Pass. I've sold more Xbox Game Pass subscriptions than probably somebody at GameStop. Not because I'm rah-rahing for the companies, because I have the information and people ask me all the time. So if they could somehow get it out there that Xbox Live is free, if you want to play with your friends on the Xbox, you go ahead, it's free. They're going to convert a lot of casual gamers. And I keep hearing people all the time, they're not going to want to lose their digital libraries on the PlayStation. Boom. What are you talking about? Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you think, and I'm being completely honest, the casual market is invested in digital, you are a lunatic. Because that's not the truth. The casual audience, which is about 85% of what made up the 115 million PS4s sold, still buy discs, still go to midnight launches, still go to the 9 o'clock release of NBA 2K whatever, WWE whatever, Madden whatever, and the latest GTA and potentially Call of Duty. And they go buy their discs, and they have 3 games a year that they buy. And they've been buying 3 games a year, and every now and again, they'll buy a big exclusive like The Last of Us or God of War, or pick whatever your flavor is. And if they think that they could get a better deal on Xbox that are going to play the games that are multi-plats, that are actually play better, and you're getting more bang for your buck, folks, you're going to have a lot of those people become convertees to Xbox because they're offering the better deal, right? You're getting more bang for your buck, and they're telling you that right now we have the most powerful console. It's an unbelievable combination of everything Phil Spencer has been building up to. But Joe, I want to go to you because you are our resident marketing manager. Mm-hmm. So you understand from a business point of view exactly what Luke and I have been talking about, exactly what Zemi's been talking about. How big of a deal would this be to the gaming industry as a whole if Phil Spencer gets out there, whether it's in July or August, and says Xbox Live is free?
I want to first say this. I just popped on Twitter for a moment. Henry Cavill is building a PC, and he's doing it in a tank top, and there's been an awakening because this man...
#MySuperman.
Oh my god, this guy's hot as hell, dude. Like, what the? Oh my goodness, those arms. Listen,
he is definitely a man for sure.
I know, like, oh my god. I think I found out so much about myself in the past 5 minutes. So when we're talking about Xbox Live going, it will go. That is the thing that's going to die in August, and we can harken it back to what Phil Spencer said. A lot of people are like, oh, Game Pass and xCloud, they're merging with no cost to you. No, it's going to cost you. It's just going to cost you differently. Remember, xCloud is coming to Game Pass Ultimate. It is not coming to just regular Game Pass. That is the thing to hook you into that extra $5.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
so
smart.
if Game Pass, if Xbox Live goes, then what is the reason for Game Pass Ultimate? Well, they found that it's xCloud. So xCloud is that extra $5. It's kind of like Hulu Plus. And so at the end of the day, in all actuality here, you're paying more. Like, theoretically, if they get you, if they stop, handing it out for $1, they got you $15 for 12 months. Let's say you forget to pay for 12 months.
To their ecosystem to spend money into the ecosystem. You are paying for the right to spend more money there, and that is marketing 101 done well.
Exactly. Yeah. So not only are you now paying more than you would have with that just $60, because you made up that money in 4 months. So you're making more money by having this service not exist anymore. Just makes sense for your bottom line. And yes, getting you into that ecosystem, selling you DLC, going, oh wait, I don't want to leave Game Pass Ultimate or Game Pass itself because I won't be able to play Halo on the bus or whatever, wherever my life takes me in the next 3 to 5 years, where we're getting all the 5G phones and giving us all Rona and the windmills as well. That is the hidden fee. Now, not to say saying hidden fee sounds evil. They're a business; they're making money. That is the core thing. They're not doing this for charity. They are doing it for one thing, which I've seen a lot on Twitter. Is it is a good optic when you have an ecosystem on PC and ecosystem on Xbox that you're trying to blend together. One of them doesn't pay for online and one of them does. So yeah, it only makes sense that this gets knocked out in August. It only makes sense that they're technically upcharging you when it comes to Game Pass Ultimate, but you don't care because the technology is so rad. And again, when I say it sounds negative, I'm trying to be as positive and awesome as possible, because to be completely honest, if I could be Benjamin Franklin with anybody, you shouldn't have been paying for this in the beginning. So the fact that the service is going to be sunsetted is fantastic. I definitely think that is one of the mic drop moments, which is great, because at the end of the day, if you're not into, let's just say you don't want Game Pass Ultimate, you're not, one that's gonna, be playing on the go. All you need is Game Pass, and then you're playing Halo and you're not worrying about another fee. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, it nets out a positive for a lot of people. If you are a single player only centric gamer, this is perfect for you,
I mean, listen, there again, it's just one of the small things that make up what is really exciting about being an Xbox gamer. Again, it's not just the Halo that we're going to get a chance to see. It's not that Ninja Theory is working on multiple games. Rare is going to be showing, besides the games, and we know that they're going to be there in a big way, it's all of the things surrounding what we're going to see on the 23rd that is exciting, and it's something that we've all been watching built, moving slow. And again, I've said this so many times before, and Zemi could back me up on this. Microsoft as a company, but more specifically Xbox, is a very big ship, and sometimes it takes a little while to turn that ship around. And we've seen Phil do everything he said he was going to do, and now everything is starting to come into clear picture, and it's exciting, and it's fun, and it's great to talk about on these shows, and more importantly, it's just going to be great for gamers as a whole. But you know what? I want to move on to one of the bigger next topics, but let me just catch up on some of the super chats. First of all, Viper XT is here. Thank you for hanging out, my brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, I came away from the May event wanting to play just as many games as I did from the PlayStation 5 event in June. Software and services will win this gen. That is a great point. Nightwolf 3186, a very good friend, but also a very generous friend of the channel. He drops a $2 super chat, said, here is some love. Now back to work. We'll watch later, and hopefully you enjoyed. Nightwolf, thank you for popping in. Viper XT once again shows another generous action with another $2 super chat, says, hit that like button, everyone. Show your support. Well, thank you for that, dude. Super appreciate that. And yes, I would appreciate if you did, in fact, hit that like button. And our good brother Smitty Smith is here, bringing us back to church once again, and he says, salute to Boom, Zemi, Insipid, Ghost, aka Luke, Mr. Badbit, and of course, moderators and chat, the Book of X. Well, thank you for your $5 super chat, but more importantly, Smitty, thanks so much for hanging out with us. And of course, Smokey drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, with the rumors of Sony struggling to get the PS5 ready to ship, I hope Microsoft launches Series X early to really put the nail in the coffin. Well, listen, folks, I got news for you. One of the big stories come from the newest Bloomberg report that we're going to be talking about tomorrow morning on Breakfast with Boom. I know Joe and BitCloud will be chomping at the bit, no pun intended, to talk about it, because based on the newest report, apparently Sony understands how important the PlayStation 5 launch is going to be. And there's, again, based on who the Bloomberg investigators talk to, be at least 10 million PS5s available by launch. And that is a big deal, because if you remember, I think they launched with 6 million for the PlayStation 4. This is nearly 40% more, which means for me that I'm going to get a PlayStation 5, and that has me very excited. But we're going to get into that later on, obviously tomorrow morning on Breakfast with Boom. And let me just continue with the super chats. Viper XT, my goodness, my friend, he drops another $2 super chat and says, Bad Bit has a man crush, hashtag my Superman.
And this is where I step in
real,
and
guys.
just say that I'm not jealous. I want everyone in this chat to know that I am not jealous. I'm not upset, and none of this bothers me.
You sound
Okay.
a little jealous, just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit. You know what? Do me a favor, Luke. I saw you drop something in the private chat. Says read this on air. Do me a favor. Why don't you do that and read? Because I only see the Twitter link. I'd rather you do it because it's you found this. Luke, are you there, sir?
I was muted.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we saw the big drop from Phil Spencer this morning talking about the future. But Aaron Greenberg put out a tweet and a very small press release as well. This tweet went out around 11 o'clock this morning, and I missed it in Rocket Arena. So Aaron Greenberg tweets, I know everyone is excited for Xbox Games Showcase next Thursday. Seen some wild expectations. So if helpful, this show has one focus: games. No business, devices, or similar news, just games. A whole show about an hour long focused on games. Hope you enjoy it. And then in the article, he offers a few details for streaming and stuff like that. But I think it's worth noting to keep our expectations, as we often remind ourselves and each other, but an hour long-ish focused on games. So you won't be seeing devices. You won't be seeing release dates. You'll be seeing games, including campaign gameplay for Halo.
Also confirmed, it will be streamed in 1080p,
Yes,
60 FPS, which means the console's dead. It's underpowered and it sucks.
Yep,
That's what the internet tells me, and it has to be true. It has to be true. Someone's dad works at Nintendo.
Yep, and we're gonna. I know we'll Boom, or a Bit. You and I are gonna stream reactions, and then we'll talk with Bit or with Boom. See Boom that night.
yes.
But I think it's worth noting, an hour long focused on games. That's something I wanted to remind ourselves. And as a last piece, again, I'm not jealous of Bad Bit. I'm not.
And you should not be, sir. You're quite handsome.
My
looking
man crush
yourself,
on-
so there you
You
go.
might be a little bit jealous.
My man crush on Henry Cavill, is that what he's jealous about?
I don't know.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No.
Well, listen, you know what? Before we go off a cliff and we completely burn, as we are all hoping that Henry Cavill will fly and save us, and he won't. I'm sorry, he's just too busy making a PC. We're all gonna perish. But I want to move on to the next.
And
topic.
looking damn good doing it. Again, I can't stress this.
There you go, my friend. Listen, the words secret sauce has become something that many in the gaming community are using to describe what is powering the Xbox Series X. And thanks to another fantastic article written by Jason Ronald, Director of Programming Management and one of the lead devs for the Xbox Series X, he posted on Xbox Wire on Monday morning. I believe it was around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when that went live. And he revealed a lot of incredible info that we need to break down. Now, again, folks, I want to stress this. I'm going to read directly from the article. I am not a tech dude. I understand exactly what he's saying. But if you want like the real technical behind the scenes stuff, it's not here that you're going to find it. I will give you my opinion on something that I understand. But if you really want the breakdown, again, I got to ask you, tune into D Batch's video. It was fantastic. So much so that I watched it twice, simply because I was getting prepared for this show, and it gave me a better understanding of what exactly is going into the box. So I'm going to read directly from the article, and it says this: introducing the Xbox Velocity Architecture. And it says the Xbox Velocity Architecture was designed as the ultimate solution for game assets streaming in the next generation. This radical reinvention of traditional I/O subsystem directly influenced all aspects of the Xbox Series X design. For our custom designed processor is at the heart of the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Velocity Architecture is the soul. Through a deep integration of hardware and software innovation, the Velocity Architecture will power the next gen gaming experience unlike anything you have seen before. He continues with the Velocity Architecture comprises of 4 major components: our custom NVMe SSD, hardware accelerated decompression blocks, a brand new direct storage API layer, and a sampler feedback streaming known as SFS. And this is what, again, folks, this is a very long article, so I broke it down so it's more understandable on a podcast. And here are the breakdowns of what he just talked about. The custom NVMe SSD. He says this: the foundation of the Xbox Velocity Architecture is our custom 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, delivering 2.4 gigabytes of raw I/O throughput, more than 40 times the throughput power of the current Xbox One. The next bullet point, is hardware accelerated decompression. Game packages and assets are compressed to minimize download times and the amount of storage required for each individual game. That's going to be a big deal. The next bullet point is new direct storage API. Standard file I/O APIs were developed more than 30 years ago and are virtually unchanged, while storage technology has made a significant advancements, I should say, since then. As we analyze the game data access patterns, as well as the latest hardware advances with the SSD technology. So, I mean, obviously, the SSD is going to be an important. I mean, we know how important it is to Sony, but now we have confirmation of how important it is going to be for the Series X. And lastly, the sampler feedback streaming, known as the SFS. Is a brand new innovation built on top of all of the other advancements of the Velocity Architecture. Game textures are optimized at differing levels of detail and resolution, called mipmaps, and can be used during rendering based on how close or far away an object is from the player. Now it closes out with this, and this is where it gets really understandable. Like for someone someone like myself who appreciates layman terms, this breaks it down for me as to be very understanding. What does this all mean for you as a gamer? As the industry's most creative developers and middleware companies, we have begun to explore these new capabilities. We expect significant innovations throughout the next generation as this revolutionary new architecture enables entirely new scenarios never before considered possible in gaming. The Velocity Architecture provides a new level of performance and capabilities well beyond the raw specifications of the hardware itself. This fundamentally rethinks how a developer can take advantage of the hardware provided by the Series X, from entirely new rendering techniques to the virtual elimination of loading times to larger, more dynamic living worlds where, as a gamer, you can choose how you want to explore. We can't be more excited by the early results we are already seeing. So, Zemi, listen, I know there's a lot to decompress here. And quite frankly, again, folks, I didn't want to, I could have gone on for another 10 minutes, but this is a podcast, so we have to keep it moving. And I do have a panel of important people that need to speak their piece. So, Zemi, listen, you read the article. You've seen what Jason Ronald has to say. We know for a fact that the SSD that they have in this box wasn't found in the back dumpster B&G's computer parts. They actually spent some money on this. Maybe not as much money as Sony, but again, I want to stress, go listen to D-Batch's video. My God, he breaks it down in such an understandable way that, again, folks, based on what he said, it looks as if the SSD could potentially be better in the X than even in the PlayStation 5, and that is saying something. What are your thoughts on what Jason Ronald had to say about the velocity architecture?
You know, I think it's very important to recognize your faults as a human, and that I really do not know a whole lot about tech, whatever Jason Ronald or whatever his name is talking, right?
Oh my God,
I think it's important to really recognize those faults. But But let me say this, like, I don't think that it's really meant for your average layman gamer to understand anything really that came out of that article. I think the main purpose of this is for, your tech heads to actually decipher it and then tell us, what was said. Basically, the only thing that I got out of that was Xbox has found new solutions to old problems, and coupled with, the hardware that's in it, we're all going to have a very Merry Christmas. That's really all I got from that article.
Dude, putting it quite frankly, that is the best way possible.
Yeah.
I could have saved the audience 10 minutes.
Yeah, why didn't Jason Ronald just say that? Like, he would have saved us all so much time.
Just basically said Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I read a portion. I read the beginning of the article and then the end of the article, because once I got to like all the really techie details, I just knew I wasn't understanding any of it. So I just skipped past that so I could get the conclusion, right? But I think it's very, very interesting. I think it's amazing how much time and effort Xbox has clearly put into this box. The velocity architecture, have no idea what that means. The only thing that I'm somewhat, kind of like weirded out on is this something, because it does talk about, the velocity architecture being something that's going to allow, middleware companies, other developers, whatever, new avenues to do things in games differently, right? And what really has me kind of questioning that is, what exactly does this matter enough to where it could possibly impede developers of creating content for the PlayStation 3? Because obviously that's not going to happen, right? That's really my question. Is this tech something that really has to be taken into consideration whenever making games? Because third-party companies are probably not going to adopt that because they want to sell games to as many people as possible. And on the flip side, what is PlayStation's, alternative to this? Right? Like, that's really the only thing that has me thinking about it, because that's really the only thing I can think about. I have no idea anything else that was said. I really need to go and watch a video of, one of the people that you recommended.
I'll send it to you privately. You should definitely go. Again, I said it 3 times. I'll say it again. Go watch D-Batch's video. I'll send it to you. He does break it down in a very layman terms, understandable for gamers like us. We just want to play what's on the box. We don't care what's inside. We just want it to play better. Yeah.
I mean, and this definitely has me excited for the future of gaming. I mean, I don't think I needed this to make me excited, but it does excite me because, to change the way that developers have been designing games, I mean, that just sounds exciting.
Yes.
Instead of having those long hallways that we walk down and, just so that they could load assets in the background, we won't have that. So how exactly will that impact how developers tell stories and introduce characters and make the game immersive? I think is really, really exciting. But as far as the article, I really have no idea what they're talking about. I really need to research it more.
Well, Can I jump in here?
Jump in, Joe. Well, why don't you give your piece about what was said during this massive article by Jason Ronald?
I love you to death, Boom. But if I heard one more, nerdy CPU teraflippy skippy dude, I was about to give you a wedgie like in high school. Give you a good old fashioned swirly. It's a machine. And, like, when I read it, I was just like, oh, it does the same things like the PS5 does. They're practically very much the same. This one has obviously more power. Cool. I just want to see if this thing runs fun games. Like that's where I'm all about at this point, right? Like what Zemi was saying, like both of them have a insanely fast SSD, and I know people on Twitter will tell me that doesn't matter, but if that
it does matter. It absolutely does matter.
Now.
Yes.
Okay, thank God. Okay, so like now with with that SSD technology and what Zemi was saying before, like instead of going out in an elevator for 5 minutes or walking down a long corridor you really don't need to, or squeezing through some crevice, how do those bottlenecks and those barriers get removed? What will games look like? When I was playing The Last of Us Part 2, the one thing that I really liked about it was that though it was one giant corridor, you still saw those limitations. When you were fighting in the neighborhood levels, it was layered like how a street would be layered. Right, like that there was some type of actual city infrastructure there, and seeing how we could take level design going further, where let's just say the next open world game, next GTA, right, like cities are going to look even more lifelike, and there will be people within those cities actually populating them. Instead of like 15 people on a city block, you might see 50 to 100. Like that's exciting to me. And at the same exact time, if that limits FPS by making a city actually look like a city and running and bustling, I'll take that. Like I want to see what these companies are saying in terms of how this it's great. It's on paper. I believe you, right? You're smart, way smarter than me. I want to see it. I want to see how open worlds more than ever are going to be changed because of this architecture.
And I think you're going to get that in both consoles. Let's not take away anything from the PlayStation 5. It is going to be a monster of a console. Its size is concerning where the hell I'm going to put it. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like I'm looking at my TV. I'm like, I may have to put my TV on the wall because it's not going to fit. Like the PlayStation 4.
The PS5 is going to weigh like a small child.
It is like a small child, indeed. So you're probably going to be carrying it around like a small child. It's just hopefully you don't drop it.
Like a baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. Listen, Luke, let's bring you into the conversation. Obviously, you're definitely a smart chap. Did this article make sense, or make sense to you as a gamer, or like me, Joe, and of course Zemi Games? You don't really care. You just want to play the box.
Pass. I don't care. I didn't even, with great love to all the tech heads out there who know what they're talking about, I just don't care. I do just want to play. I'm like you guys. I just want to play the games. I want to play the box. I will figure out a way to add on to my house, get a PS5 in here, and have some good old times with Miles Morales. I will find a way to play the games I want to play. I don't ultimately, big picture, don't really care what the boxes look like. Don't really care what brand they are. Don't really care how powerful they are. Love Breath of the Wild. It's on the weakest system ever made, it seems.
But it's still an amazing game that took 120 hours of my life.
Absolutely, and that's kind of the thing. There is as Joe often says. He says it in jest, but it's true. Like the teraflops, skips, and
the flippity flops, as he calls it.
Yeah, like whatever. Like
I
just want to have fun with my games. One of my favorite games this year, Darksiders Genesis. Dude, you could play that on the Tesla or on the fridge or anywhere.
You could probably play it on a potato.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah. And so I, with great love to everybody that's interested, the arguments over, well, this one's more powerful. Hush, be quiet. Doesn't matter. Hate me all you like. My Twitter handle's Insipid Ghost. Bring it. I don't care. That's just, I want to play the games. I have fun. That's what I like.
Well,
that's what a fake fan would say. Get this guy out of here.
I mean,
that's right.
You guys hashed that out, whether who's a better fan and who's leading the charge in that game that you're playing, who's carrying who. I don't know. I heard two sides of the story. I'm kind of divided.
I'm really the best. I haven't even played it, but I know I'm the best.
You probably are. So you guys need to get off Zemi's coattails as we move on to the next topic. And again, listen, folks. If this topic bored the hell out of you, I apologize. But I had to talk about it simply because, well, it's an important article that was dropped, and it is an important piece of what is going to make the Series X the best place to play. And we didn't spend too much time on it, so I'm very excited about that. And we're going to move on to one of the big topics, which we got some serious hot off the presses news regarding Forza Motorsport 8. But before I do, let me just catch up on some of these super chats because there's a lot of them that came in, and I have to thank everyone for supporting the channel. Dad versus Rock drops a very generous $5 super chat and says they only need 20 million Game Pass Ultimate subs to make up the 60 million Xbox Live Gold subs they currently have. With all of the reasons to love Xbox, they should have 20 million very soon. You know, it's funny you should say that, because a very good friend of the show who has a lot of inside connections, Tim Dog, you know who that guy is, he confirmed on RDX last week that they have surpassed 15 million subs. Now, Microsoft is only saying 10, but he knows for a fact that it's 15, and I believe him, simply because, you know, he wouldn't say it if he didn't have that kind of information. And obviously, Tim Dog has a lot of really superior inside connections. So, you know, big shout out to him. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me just catch up on some of these super chats again. Okay. We have our next one is a very good, generous friend of the show. Love having him here in the chat. Elemental PO drops a $5 super chat. Thank you for being here, my brother. He says 1080p 60 is all I asked for. I knew it could be done. I'm watching on Twitch. Well, there you go. Sikia Yumi, which I have pronounced it wrong again. I know that I did. I have to get the actual pronunciation. Thank you for being here. And also, thank you for your generosity. They say Ninja Theory has AAA talent, plus made 2 of the best games with Enslaved, which was amazing, and DMC, which is Devil May Cry. Hellblade 2 confirmed real-time at Game Awards. Most impressive game ever, ? Yeah, it's one of the topics I'm hoping we can get to it. If we don't get to it today, I promise you that it will be one of the lead topics on tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom. Mighty Ryan is here. Thank you for hanging out, Ryan. He drops a $5 super chat, says, how likely is xCloud will be available on Switch? Love the show. Man, I don't know. I mean,
Soon.
They should do it. I'm telling you right now, they should do it.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm kind of divided on whether it should be there, but it could potentially be there.
What's the difference?
It should be there, but
it's $600 phone and going and buying a $300 Switch. Like, what's the difference? It's a different platform. I mean, it's just a different device.
It's Nintendo that's in the way of that, by the way.
But I mean, if Nintendo allowed it, like, what would be the problem for Xbox doing that?
No, I mean, there really wouldn't be one. It would just be like people are upset that you can play Xbox on a Nintendo. I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen, but there is potential.
There will be a day.
There will be a day.
You're going to be playing all the things on any box.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
you buy a Samsung TV.
Now.
It's not just Game Pass. It's not just PlayStation Now. It'll be all of it, and that's good for us, everybody.
Ultimately, that would actually help Nintendo because, I say it helped Nintendo. Nintendo has actually sold more consoles than the Xbox. But the point still there is that they would sell even more Nintendos because people wouldn't buy the Xbox console. They might buy the Nintendo so that they could play the first-party games as well as Xbox. I mean, it would help them.
It is a possibility. And from what we understand, the Xbox Series X will be going into the server racks next year. For xCloud. So you're going to technically be playing a Series X on whatever you're playing because you're going to be playing it from the cloud, and those server racks are going to be populated by the Series X hardware. It's going to be a very exciting time. But let me continue. JD Gamer, thank you for your generosity. It has been outrageous. He dropped another one. Hold on a sec. Let me see. My hands are dead for some reason. I cannot scroll through all of these super chats. Let me see. My fingers are just not registering. Hold on just a sec. He says the secret sauce Xbox VA. Yeah, I do. I mean, listen, I love saying it. It's fun. He drops another $5 super chat. Thank you, JD, for your outstanding generosity. He says, imagine all of those T-flops, memory bandwidth, and XVA, Xbox Velocity Architecture, secret source in one game machine. Woohoo. I seriously just got wood. Well, thank you for sharing, my brother. Definitely appreciate that. And Robert Olson is
what
here.
A comment. Oh, I love it.
Robert Olson is here. He drops a very generous $5 suggestion. So basically, Velocity tells the Kraken to hold my beer. Potentially, yes. Face 23 BKNY drops an additional $2 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. He says, on paper, PS5 SSD is faster with 12 channels. Yeah, I mean, listen, they're both going to be great. I don't know if on paper versus practicality use is going to be a big difference, but we certainly will be told so by Digital Foundry once these two consoles become available and they get their hands on it. Pixel Bit G drops another $5 super chat, says, folks, do not forget, Velocity will come to PC. SFS and VRS and ML are all parts of DirectX 12 Ultimate, which is true, which is also on PC. Not just hardware, but tools. Very strong point. Eagles fan 76 says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. What I learned about the Velocity architecture is that it performs at a stable speed, even with the expandable SSD. And PS5, their I/O speeds could be variable. That has been confirmed by Dealer Gaming as well. JD Gamer, my goodness, dude, he drops another super chat for $10 and says, imagine being a hardware company and needing to create specialized hardware to do what your competitor can do with less than half of the hardware because they're a software company, so they blended the two. That is a very interesting point. A Midway Monster drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, according to The Verge, xCloud will be free with Game Pass Ultimate. Don't know if you covered it earlier. Great show. Happy gaming, everyone. Yes, actually, we did, my brother. And thank you for your generosity. Eagles fan drops another $2 super chat. Says, this shows that Xbox is completely balanced. That is another strong point. And we have two more super chats, and we're going to get into the topic. JD Gamer, once again, he says, Everwild equals Breath of the Wild. Perfect Dark equals Splinter Cell. Fable equals God of War. Halo has no equal, and the Xbox has no games. Meme dies as an early death on next Thursday, and that's true, and that's the truth, dude. And Gamer by Choice drops an incredibly generous $25 super chat. Thank you for having a wonderful show and panel. I enjoy your topics and discussion. I listen to all of your podcasts. The XSX has me very excited for gaming based on hardware and software built into the console Book of X. Well, dude, first of all, thank you for the compliment. I'm really glad that you're enjoying the content. And if you are, next week, I'm doing, folks, the first time in Double Barrel Gaming history, live shows Monday through Friday. That's right. You heard it live here on the air. I talked about it yesterday on Twitter. I'm going to have 5 live streams next week covering everything Xbox, and it is going to be a party. I hope you can show up. But thank you, Gamer by Choice, for your outstanding generosity. I mean, that's greatly appreciated. But gentlemen, let's move on to this next big topic, and this is one I want to get out the door early. I want you to take it with a grain of salt, because this information was posted on the 4chan forums. Now we know that they are nefarious with not really being forthcoming and truth-worthy, if you will. But there is so much information here that I felt it necessary to at least discuss concerning the new tech during what was it's being called the obviously Forza Motorsport 8, which is expected and basically confirmed so much so to show up at the next week's July 23rd first party showcase. And as we know, right, for many years, when a console is released, one of the genres that has always been at the forefront of showing off your new tech has always been, at least in modern gaming, has always been racing titles. And those two titles that you immediately equate with power and great looking visuals for many years has been, of course, Gran Turismo on the PlayStation brand and Forza Motorsport. Now, both Turn 10 Studios, makers of the Forza Motorsport series, and Playground Games, makers of Forza Horizon, have become the industry leaders. And that title, which again was once held by Polyphony Digital, makers of Gran Turismo. That title has not shifted hands in many, many years. And we don't know if this year is going to be the year that Gran Turismo regains the crown. But based on this new information, I think it's going to stay properly in of course, the Forza camp. Now, with the Series X leading the way with ultimate power, many in the racing community are expecting that Forza Motorsport 8 will make its grand appearance next week. And I believe, like I said earlier, it is going to happen. And thanks to a leak posted in all of its great detail from the 4chan forums, this Forza Motorsport is not only going to be different from previous entries, it is going to be the best looking and playing. Now, I said earlier, I want people to take this with a grain of salt. I don't want to be accused as, saying that this is true, folks. This is from 4chan, so take it with a grain of salt. But here are the bullet points coming from the Forza Motorsport 8 leak. New tire pressure models, dynamic track temperatures, new atmosphere pressure system actually affecting air density, dynamics, and power, a redesigned suspension system with NED modeling, new ranked online system, new integrated online ghosting system. It's an evolution to Forza Motorsport 7's late edition. Tracks have a full day and night cycle depending on the race length and track. There's actually going to be rubber left on the track from the tires that could potentially become a hazard once you come back around. New heat interaction on the tire, with the tire pressure, which is insane. Expanded race capacity. Off-road racing on land and gravel. Rally races will also be present and potentially a first for the series. And Forza Clubs returns in a big way. Now, along with the stout listed additions, the leak also mentions that developer Turn 10 is targeting quality over quantity, meaning car and track details will be more important this time around. And instead of the standard 700 cars at launch, we may only get about 350, literally half that, because they're really going into detail more than they've ever done before. And you know what? I think 350 cars is perfectly fine. And eventually we're going to get tons and tons of more cars as the title gets a little longer in the tooth. Now, on top of this, the career mode has had a full overhaul and will be similar, and get this, folks, to the Need for Speed story mode with character cinematics and a full-blown storyline, a first for the series. Calendar events return from Forza Motorsport 4, and the season system from Forza Horizon 4 is also in the game, another first for motorsport. As for the performance, the developers are apparently aiming, and folks, this is insane, they're aiming for 4K 120 frames per second with ray tracing. Folks, that's insane. And apparently the release date is not at launch. It's going to come out in February of 2021. Now, of course, Zemi Games, I want to go to you. I don't necessarily know how big of a Forza fan you are, but what they're looking to do is something that's never been done before. And again, if you're a fan of the series, you know that normally the dev cycle is 2 years. Forza Motorsport comes out, and then and then of course the Horizon folks, known as Playground Games, they had 2 years to develop the next game, and it's one after another. Well, Forza Motorsport skipped last year, giving them an entire year, a total 3-year development cycle for this new game. What are your thoughts on the advancements coming from Turn 10?
Well, I think it sounds amazing, and especially like the seasons, like adding in like the feature to have different seasons, very similar to like Forza Horizon 4. I think that is really, really cool, and I think that's going to add a lot of dynamics to all the different racetracks, and then also just to see how the differences. Obviously it was very different, racing on snow versus racing on a nice clear piece of pavement like in Forza Horizon 4, but Forza Motorsports has always been more advanced with like the physics and how the car actually interacts with the road and everything, right? So I think that's going to be very, very interesting to see. And then, you know, with like the tire pressure and all that different stuff, I feel like we've already heard that before. But as far as a quality, the quality of the leak, I think it sounds, you know, pretty spot on, pretty believable, and I don't know, they like very, very good. Once again, it does come from, you know, Reddit's, you know, 4chan, so you know there is that skepticism there. The one thing that does kind of bother me though about this leak is that, you know, the author says that the game's going to come out in February of 2021. And for some reason, I still think that's, you know, I don't know, kind of wrong. And the reason I say that is because, you know, like what you were saying whenever introducing this topic, you know, Forza and just racing games in general have always been, you know, one of those titles to really show off
exactly,
a console's capability and
yes.
the graphics, right? And let's just put this into example. The last Forza game, I believe, that released for the Xbox 360, I think was Forza Motorsports 5, but it might have been Forza Motorsports 6. I don't really remember. But I was watching a video or video footage of the last Forza game that was out on the 360. And that game to this day still looks amazing, and many consumers would happily play that on their Xbox One, you know, X console, right? So, you know, that just kind of shows how much time and dedication that they put into the graphics of these Forza games, and just how impressive they are visually. And so I think not to have this game release alongside Halo Infinite would be a huge mistake. And then also, you know, a few months ago, we were covering an article talking about, I think, how the lead cinematic developer or something like that was moving from Turn 10 to Obsidian.
Yes,
I don't remember his
done.
name.
Yes,
exactly, because he was done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that indicates to me that the game is really, really, you know, far along, you know, its development cycle, and then coupled with, you know, its importance to release alongside, you know, the actual release date of the console. I really think that you know, this game is going to come out alongside Halo Infinite. But with that being said, with the current world situation, development cycles might have been pushed back. And so that might explain why we're seeing a February release. But even still, I think that Xbox would try their best to push this game out as soon as possible. So that's really the only thing that has me questioning like the validity of this leak. But generally speaking, I really like everything else that's being said. It's just the release date that has me a little iffy on this.
You know what? I mean, listen, I'm still in the belief that we're going to get the Trinity at launch. I've said this before. I've said it months ago, and I'm going to stay strong to it until I'm proven wrong. We're getting Halo, we're getting Gears Tactics, and we're getting Forza Motorsport 8. Those are what you launch with, along with all of the little extra stuff that's going to be in there, and it's going to be an incredible launch. I think that they've had enough time to be able to have the Trinity available at launch, but also I think it would have been a lock without coronavirus. But I think that, like you were saying, the coronavirus may or may not have pushed the launch. Yeah. But again, we're going to know.
To add another thing that I do want to mention is that I think that there is a lot of truth in this rumor, in this leak, whatever you want to call it. I think that there is actually a lot of truth in it, but I think a lot of it is also repeated and regurgitated information that we've already kind of gotten and that almost anyone could speculate on.
I agree. I don't think there's anything really groundbreaking, but I just think it was definitely worth a conversation. Absolutely. For sure. You know, Luke, let's bring you into the conversation. Again, I don't necessarily know how big of a fan you are for racing. The genre is, you know, some people consider it to be, you know, one that, you know, has a small grouping of people that like the race heads that really enjoy it. And there's a lot to enjoy if you are said one of those people. I mean, all the technical aspects that they're doing with tire pressure and atmosphere and heat and rubber on the tracks is like, wow. I mean, that's way over my head. I just want to, you know, win races and knock over a bunch of boards so I can get the achievement. It's what I do in Horizon. So, you know, I mean, that's what I'm probably going to do here. But for you, what are your takes on Turn 10's next entry? Are you interested in what the leak has to say? Is it a game that's going to be on your radar?
Well, I think any launch game is going to be on our radar simply because we want to see what these machines can do at launch. I do not have any love or affinity for the motorsport side of Forza.
So you're like me. You're more of a Horizon guy.
Very much so. And I
Okay.
think there's a couple layers to I locked on to and flagged a few of the things that you mentioned, and I don't know what they mean, to be very clear. However, launching with that trinity of Forza, Gears, Halo, that does not sound good, given the way the Xbox One tried to stand on those pillars and it didn't work. Now, Gears Tactics is not Gears, and Halo Infinite is said to be a reboot, and we've had time off from Forza, and theoretically this comes in with ray tracing and whatnot. So it's not quite the same trinity that it was, you know what I mean? It's a different mindset and approach to it, but that doesn't matter to the casual, to the layman, or to those who are only half listening in that conversation. So
Right.
if it were me and I have Forza Motorsport almost ready to go, maybe it's ready to go. Maybe I move that to January or February or March. Move it away from the launch. Let Dirt 5 be there, because they've already clearly been giving Dirt 5 some spotlight. Let that be.
And
a
they've
racing
confirmed
game.
120 frames per second on Dirt 5, by the way.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, maybe not eat their lunch, have some goodwill there, but give it a bit of breathing room. Let some of the other parts of your catalog speak for themselves if they're able. I mean, we'll be able to eat some crow and adjust our opinions a week from now for sure. But early on, I think it's a no-brainer that there is a Forza game coming, because racing games are the best way to show off your tech at a glance. But we have had our fill of Forza. It will be the 8th entry. We've had some great expansions in the Horizon series. Dirt 5 is being showcased by Xbox, and maybe Forza can keep having a breather for a little bit longer and give some distance there. I don't like the idea of Forza, Gears, Halo being the marketing speak. I love those three franchises, goodness gracious. I mean, I'm a fake fan, of course, but they're
boo.
but you don't want to launch on the pillars of the generation that did half as much as your primary competition. So those are the thoughts going around in my mind on the business side. But as far as gameplay, I mean, it's me on Game Pass. I'm sure I'll load it up, play it a little bit, just like Flight Simulator. I'll probably load it up, play a little bit, be like, oh, cool, not for me, dope, but neat that it's there.
Yeah,
it's there for a lot of people. It's just I'm not one of those people. That's all.
I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with what you said. I mean, again, from a fandom point of view, I think that the trinity that built Xbox to restart a generation in a way like you suggested is very different. It's not the same Gears because it's tactics. It's not the same Halo because it's going to be an open world Halo. It's a topic that we didn't get a chance to talk about, but we'll talk about on tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom, because obviously it asks a very specific question. It's not a huge topic, but it does ask a very thought-provoking question that we'll cover tomorrow. And of course, this is going to be a new motorsport. And I say new, not that it's a new title. There's going to be a story mode in there, and it's going to be a lot more detailed. But it's also going to be not the same motorsport that people didn't like it just being for race heads, where someone who's a casual could still go on and drive anywhere they want and still get the seasons and the same enjoyment out of Horizon. So I agree with you in the sense where you don't want to, if they were the cookie cutter same Halo, Gears, Forza, you wouldn't want to put that as the front runner for your new console and your new ideology for your generation. But all three of these games are going to be offering so much different, so many different aspects to them in their presentation.
They look like bangers. I mean, Gears Tactics, very well reviewed. I could not be more excited for Halo Infinite. And how else do you see the gorgeous power of a system than a high-profile racing game like Forza Motorsport 8? None of that is in question. I mean, Halo is going to be the flagship for this launch. I hesitate if the article written by Joe Schmo or the article read by Joe Schmo too is Forza, Gears, Halo. That's the only part I worry about, but I genuinely don't think that's going to be the case. They have done such a good job with their messaging in the last 3 years, and in particular since Game Awards about Series X. I don't think that's going to happen. It just flags in my mind that like, ooh, we've heard that before. And I freaking love Gears 5. I absolutely adore the Halo franchise. I mean, fake fan again, but it's just I would worry if that's the marketing to those outside of the know.
I definitely see your point. Obviously, you don't want to get into the same rut, and I think that Microsoft's been doing so good with their messaging that wouldn't be the case, and that's why we're having the showcase on the 23rd, and we're going to be, from what I understand, what little I understand, tremendously impressed, but also tremendously surprised with some things that have not leaked. Microsoft has been really good of keeping the surprises, tucked away, and I think we're going to be really impressed. And closing out the show as well as the topic, Joe, again, obviously you being the real fan of the panel, what are your thoughts on the leak? And honestly, does anything interest you as someone that is going to be buying a Series X? Do you want to play Forza Motorsport
8? That's my car. That's my car noise.
Car noise. Get a new one. Will you?
You are so weird.
As long
you might need to change the brakes on that car.
I agree.
What are brakes, dude? It's all pedal to the metal, dude. Like I say on the trophy room, close your eyes, take out your seatbelt, just press that gas. That's all you need. Anyway, Forza Motorsport. I don't know cars. I guess it's cool. If it has to do with familia, I'm all in, right? If it's about going fast,
that's a Fast and Furious reference for anyone.
And boom, close your ears. And if it's about breaking the law, I'm all.
I love Need for Speed running from the popo. I lived for it, so you can speak away. It's okay.
All right, were you just like, okay, this is how I'm gonna get them if they do this? You know what I mean? you're learning behind the controller. No, like all that sounds cool. All that sounds really awesome for the people that love racing games. All I want in this game is a 2000. Now close your eyes, guys. Everybody, close your eyes. Picture this: 2018 4-cylinder Toyota Corolla in white.
Grief. My goodness.
Yep. That's my car. I love playing these games and then driving my total stupid little sedan racing, because then I can bump stuff.
Good on gas. You won't win one race. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Well, listen, you'd be surprised with how fast that baby goes.
If he's racing my 2012 Prius,
boom. He'll get that up to an S tier.
Yeah.
Maybe. Absolutely.
Race me in my 2012 Prius. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it, man. And so, that's all I really care about. Let me just have my Corolla. Let me bump into stuff there, and I'm a happy camper. But hey, you know what? It does make sense. I just don't want the story mode because that would. I mean, we see it in Madden. You see it in 2K, right, and other sports stuff. As long as it's not like those, and it's actually there's some weight to it. Awesome. I'm all in for it. But I don't do the simulation stuff. So best of luck to Polyphony. See that? And Playground Games, because I hope they both make something people really care about.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, folks. Again, this is maybe not the biggest topic of the day. Obviously, we had the breaking news, and that actually took a good portion of the show. But listen, we are across the 2-hour mark. Forza 8, whenever it releases, Forza Motorsport 8 is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Thankfully, I don't have to buy it because I have Game Pass, and something that a lot of people are going to be doing, taking advantage of not actually having to buy these games, because quite frankly, this fall is grossly loaded with good games, and we have 2 consoles coming out, and it's going to be expensive as hell. But you know what? Before we get out of here, let me just finish out the super chats, because you know how I feel about missing them. It does break my heart when I do that. Viper XT drops another generous $5 super chat and says, JD Gamer, I get Zelda Breath of the Wild vibes as well. When I see Everwild by Rare, I hope it's as good. And I think it's going to be shockingly good from what I hear. Z Black Rider, a very good friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super just says, when did Nintendo get a box? It's not really a box. It's more like maybe the flap of a cardboard box. That's good to stand. And Smitty Smith, once again, dude, shows his generosity. He says, Monday through Friday, boom, sweet Jesus, it's going to be awesome. Yes, I've already started working on the shows. I was up to one last night writing, and I have a lot more. I don't even have tomorrow's show fully written, which is terrible. I should have had it done, but I've been doing so much. Actually, I haven't been gaming. I've just
Breaking
been
news
writing.
for you, Boom.
Yes, sir.
Breaking news.
Yes.
The Verge, Tom Warren, has tweeted out confirmation that Microsoft has officially canceled, or rather, I should say, halted production on the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S all digital editions to prep for Series X. The Xbox One S will continue to be manufactured and sold globally. I know you'll probably talk about it tomorrow on your show, but I wanted to drop it in there for today.
Well, thank you so much for that. Yes, that's a big story. I have it pulled, and that's pretty interesting. That leads me to believe that the Xbox Series X and S are going to be out in front come August. I cannot wait to see that. Viper XT drops another generous final suggestion. It makes sense to release Forza 8 in February with how they've been showing off and pushing Dirt 5, and that you alluded to that. Insipid. So that's actually smart. Work with them, get that 120 frames 4K running on your console, and then save Forza for 2021. It actually does make a lot of sense. But you know what? I want to thank the near 500 people that tuned in to this absolutely amazing fire show. Lots of breaking news, lots of topics, some we didn't get to, but I'm going to bring back around for tomorrow's conversation. That's going to include Mr. Badbit. Obviously, you're going to be there. We also have BitCloud Gaming. We also have Crispy Bomb. Those are our three regulars. And our panel guest is going to be none other than Slow-Mo Backslap from, of course, the Basement Arcade Radio podcast. And we even might get Enrique to jump on for a little bit as well. So it's going to be a great show with a lot of great topics. But let's get everybody on out of here. First, I want to say thank you once again to the community. My goodness, the super chats that continue to come in are just, and I say it all the time, and I'm not saying it, it's just for saying it. It is it humbles me as a content creator to know that you enjoy it so much that you are willing to take money out of your pocket and donate it to this channel. And that is something that I don't necessarily know how many thank yous I can say, but honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I truly and greatly appreciate it. But let's get everyone out of here. Zemi Games, we're going to start with you, my brother. Obviously, you are a big part of this show, but more importantly, you are a big part of this community. You have an amazing YouTube channel. You are a chef in training, from what I understand, and someone that has officially broke my heart and said to my face that you will not be playing Resident Evil 8. Shame on you. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, reach out to you through a DM, talk gaming or whatever, trade recipes potentially, and check out your YouTube channel.
Yeah, the whole Resident Evil thing, you're going to have to take that up with the developers, okay? It's not, I cannot be held responsible for them not making it a co-op game, okay? I can't be held responsible for that, Boom. I'm sorry. But I guarantee you, the next Resident Evil game that comes out, that is co-op. I will be your battle buddy, okay?
Excellent.
We will go in there. We will kill those undead zombie creatures, whatever they are.
Werewolves in this one. Werewolves.
Werewolf. You know, I did see that trailer, and I was like, oh my God, this game looks so amazing. But
I'll never play it.
But yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And they're werewolves. They're not swearwolves. And if you get that reference, we could be friends.
No, I don't. But anyway.
Damn it, guys.
Loser.
But guys, definitely go check out my YouTube channel. I do a bunch of gaming content over there. It's called Zimmy Games. I do a bunch of gaming news, tutorials, unboxings, all sorts of that type of stuff. So definitely go check that out. And then as I say on every show, if you guys enjoyed what I had to say, or even if you hated what I had to say, please be sure to go check out my Twitter page. And give me a follow over there. My DMs are always open, and I really enjoy it whenever anyone in the community reaches out. Once again, if you know, whether you hated me or hated what I had to say, hopefully you didn't hate me. Hopefully you just hated what I had to say. Or you loved what I had to say, please feel free to reach out. I do really enjoy talking to everyone, hearing different people's opinions. I think that's how we move forward, and we definitely understand both sides of each topic. But yeah, Boom, thank you so much, man. The show is amazing as always.
Well, thank you so much for being here, as always, dude. And it's great. Obviously, I don't think anyone could actually hate you.
Yeah, I hope so.
That would be devastating because you are a friendly chap, no doubt about that. Next up, Insipid Ghost. Obviously, you have been very busy because your new episode of the Xbox expansion pass I listened to, and it was fantastic because, like you told me in the DM, I am playing the Ninja Gaiden successor, and it is amazing on Xbox Game Pass, known as The Messenger. If you have not played that, big shout out to Randolph Law 19, who talked about it on his show last week. I played it. I'm very far into it, enjoying it. I'm at a point where I am pulling my hair out because the difficulty spike has gone through the roof, but it is fantastic. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, but more importantly, check out your outstanding and growing show that you've been. Obviously, you broke some records this week there, Luke.
Yeah, absolutely. So I host the Xbox Expansion Pass, which is a weekly Xbox podcast on all podcast services, having voices from around the industry. As you said, I had the developer's creative director of The Messenger on last week. Next week, if you are interested in the downfall of Mixer and you would like to know more about that situation and what it's done to some of the technology engineers behind that over at Lightstream. It's a really fascinating conversation. I look forward to sharing that with you guys as well. And I want to say a quick thank you to a couple people that are in chat who made their way over to my Twitch channel. Smitty Smith, Elemental, Betterman, and Cybernox have all come and said hello to me over on twitch.tv/insipidghost, and they referenced the Xbox Factor podcast and you, Boom, which I thought was great. And then earlier in chat today, Gamer by Choice said he listens to all of our content outside of the Xbox Factor as well. And so thank you to him. It's really appreciated when all of you go check out the Trophy Room and Zemi Games and Xbox Expansion Pass and see us. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, you know what? The whole point of having you guys on here, besides hanging out with people that I consider to be family, even though we've never actually met in real life, brothers. Well, I would say brothers first. I wouldn't say Papa because, well, I'm old enough to be your dad. I'm going to be 50. Yes, I'm that freaking old. And so, but I don't feel like it, though. I don't feel old. I feel like I could still pounce around if needed be. But you know what, Joe? Let's go to you next, Joe, because obviously, like I've said before, besides Luke, besides Zemi, besides Boxer Bear, who will be back next week, the point of my shows is to not only put on a great show, not only have great panel members who know their shit, but I have to, as a content creator, push others above myself. That is something I live for. I'm glad I could do it with all of you. And you have become a fan favorite, not only in PlayStation Nation, but of course, the Xbox Nation, who welcomes you with an open arm or two. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone about the Trophy Room, which is fantastic and a weekly show you should be listening to. And where can people follow you on social media?
So let's do social media first. Let's tackle that one. You can find me over at Mr. Badbit. I'm so close to breaking 1,000, and usually I don't care about the number, but knowing that like it's 1,000, that's a number, man. So let's do that. We're like 15 away, I think.
Folks, get out there, man. Sub this channel, please.
And while you're at it, PS Trophy Room on Twitter, where we try our best to break down, give you up-to-date information on all the PlayStation related things. And you can find me over at Bad Big Games, where we talk about all things game news, reviews, and unboxings. This week on Bad Big Games, we have a excellent conversation with our good friend Brock McLaughlin, where we answer your questions about Ghosts of Tsushima and if it's worth your buy. It's an excellent review. It's about 30 minutes long. It was a ton of fun talking to Brock about that game. And you can also find the latest episode of the Trophy Room on Bad Big Games, but also on any podcast service of your choosing. We talk about the PlayStation 5 ramping up production, the PS5 backwards compatibility patents, Marvel's Avengers beta. But more importantly, it's one of the one of my favorite shows we've done in a while because it's just a whole lot of fun. We had a whole lot of fun that episode, and if you're an Xbox person, you're gonna get very, very aggravated as we're so confused about smart delivery. So go over there, check it out. It's a really fun episode, and again, all the love that I've been getting and we've been getting has just been. It's been something else. It's been very humbling, and we couldn't be more grateful. So thank you all so much, guys.
Yeah, this community is one of a kind. It really is the most welcoming community I've ever been a part of, and I'm proud to be elbow to elbow with anybody in this community. It really does mean a lot to me. Not only do you support me, but you support the people I bring on. I think that is a really, really big deal, and it just goes to show the character that this community carries. Real quick, as we get on out of here, 2 big super chats come in. Gamer by Choice, who we were talking about momentarily, he drops another very generous $5 super chat. Says, it is funny that people hate on Xbox Trinity of Gears, Forza, and Halo, but how many people buy Call of Duty, Madden 2K, and NBA 2K? You know what?
It's such a good point. It's such a good point.
Yeah.
And he's on to something there. No, and that's every year.
Right. It's just the mindset that I was discussing, because I agree with him. He's right. No, but it's the mindset.
Yeah, you know.
Why do you think that's a mindset? I mean, never mind. You know what? We're ending the show here.
You know what? We'll actually. You know what? It's funny. I'm going to tuck that away, and we're going to bring that up next week.
It's a great conversation.
Maybe not next week. Next week is in the insane asylum. You know what? I'm going to write that topic, and we're going to bring it up in the following. Oh, someone's
call the police. Call the police on that dog.
And Viper XT, my God, dude, your generosity is unmatched. He drops another $10 super chat. Says, great show, guys. We'll be tuning in tomorrow. Boom. Well, thank you, dude. Super appreciate that. And everyone, listen, I just want to thank you once again. You power this show with your subs. You power this show with your views. And more importantly, you power this show with your comments and just hanging out with us for 2+ hours, multiple times a week. And I could not be more happy and grateful as a content creator. So I want to wish everyone a great day. Please be safe. Be kind, enjoy gaming on whatever machine that you play on. And I'm going to close out the show with something that I consider to be one of the most important life lessons my dad taught me, who in my opinion is still, even though he's no longer with us, my hero. He used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on the new hot off the presses episode of Breakfast with Boom.